Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We are back for episode number 99 on this March 25th, coming at you on a Wednesday night, a little bit later than we usually do, at least as far as the week timeline goes and everything. But we are right in the middle of a pretty spicy March Madness that we all love. Maybe not quite as many upsets as we usually like to see, but that's kind of going to be the main thing that we talk about in this here pod. But Fezzy boy, why don't you tell the people in detail what we got coming up?
Yes, sir. Obviously, we just had March Madness in the first weekend happen. One of the greatest weekends in sports of all time. Absolutely amazing. I loved it. Obviously, wasn't able to tap in as closely as I usually do in other years. Like past years, you remember the days we'd all get together at Peter's apartment, TVs everywhere, taking the weekend off. So great. So great. But yes, before we get into all of that, if you guys could please like and subscribe on the video, that would help us out a ton. Almost to episode 100, which is wild. So if you guys could like and subscribe for that, we'll have a great episode for you guys next week. Not sure when that will come out because Sam and I will be out of town at a USA versus Portugal soccer game, which we'll kind of touch on here right after I do the rundown. But here we go. Today's episode, we got a huge block of NCAA basketball. Obviously, we had the first and second round happening. And if we have time, we might dive into some of the preview of the Sweet 16 starting tomorrow. We'll touch on some coaching carousels with a big name in UNC getting fired. He's out the door, obviously, after that meltdown against VCU this past weekend. And then we'll hop over the pond. We'll touch on the Prem. Kind of touch on some of the Champions League games that we didn't get to touch on because the podcast last week was in between the two match days. And then we will also look at some World Cup qualies as we get ready for the big tournament this summer here in America that we're super excited for. But Sam boy, like I said, we got a little game coming up next Tuesday. Super hyped for that. But how was your weekend kind of watching the games? I know you had some CSM stuff going down. How was that?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a busy weekend. I started off with obviously Thursday, Friday games. And you were saying that it kind of sucks that, we had to work and everything, but I did see a meme that I thought was appropriate and kind of funny as well. It's like, you do a big time party for the Super Bowl, but March Madness is just made for yourself in some kind of work setting, just trying to watch a game.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite feel the same when you're not, but so first couple days, obviously I was kind of stuck at work. Watching games. I did have a pretty nice setup at work, I will say, probably compared to most people. We had a nice little big projector screen with 4 split screens going on. We had soccer on a TV on the side. So
Nice.
Fair to say there wasn't a lot of work going on during prime March Madness times, but it was a good time. And then Friday night, we had our big youth group March Madness event that we have every year. That was pretty lit as always. 3-on-3 tournaments. We had a little bit of knockout, a little bit of 2K going on. So
nice.
Just a really good day overall. Saturday, a little manual labor kind of took me out of some of the games on that day, but a lot of blowouts going on too. But overall, just a great weekend for basketball in general. So loved it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I kind of agree with that. It's reminiscent of back in the day, back in high school, when obviously you couldn't skip school. Your parents wouldn't let you skip school unless they were cool or whatever.
Yeah.
But you would have your phone in your pencil case or behind a stack of books or something, just trying to watch any games you could. This was also back pre YouTube quad box, watching the best game that you could get at the time. We did have
hopefully it wasn't buffering or messing up.
Right. The school Wi-Fi was was strong enough. Not everybody was on it at the same time. We did have one awesome teacher that he actually canceled his class and took us to the auditorium. And we watched it worked out because obviously, as you guys know, if you listen to the podcast, I grew up 45 minutes from Syracuse, so that was our college team. And it worked out during that period. The Syracuse game was on, so we got to watch the Syracuse game, the first half of the Syracuse game.
That was prime upstate New York time, was March Madness, because y'all were good all those years.
Yeah,
growing up for you guys.
Definitely. And our football team was cheeks. So like that was
that's what I'm saying.
like it was lacrosse or basketball, and I was not into lacrosse. So it was definitely like every tournament time, it was definitely Syracuse. And keeping up with them because we were always like a high seed, but it started tapering off like later and later. Like we had to start, like we'd have like that deep run to the Final Four as like an 8 seed, and then like I was telling you this today, I was actually watching the 2021 11 seed Sweet 16 run that we had just to like reminisce because man, it is tough sledding right now as a Syracuse fan. So but no, I enjoyed the tournament. Obviously, it's a little chalky as you know we kind of figured with NIL and different things going on, but some good storylines for sure. Gonna watch as much of the Sweet 16 as I can, even though got a hefty weekend this week. Brandon's wedding's down in Atlanta on Sunday, so we're all gonna go down a couple days early, kind of enjoy Atlanta, and then
Pretty high.
then
Is
we have
Pete
our
going to be down there?
yeah, Peter's gonna be there. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
when
you'll
he's
definitely
getting
be
there.
watching games then. You'll find a way.
Yeah, but I'm not sure when they're getting there though. We're all going down early just because it's close. I'm not sure when they're getting there, but gonna be a good time meeting some people I haven't seen. Gonna go golfing with a buddy who actually I think listens to the podcast. So Trevor, if you're listening to this, I'm excited to go golfing this weekend. It'll be fun
Shout
to
out
finally
Trevor.
meet you. He's one of those gaming buddies that like through playing games all those years, but you've never met in real life.
Yeah.
So this will be the first time that we meet. But super hyped for the Portugal game, even though Ronaldo unfortunately will not be there because he's nursing. Like, what's he got? Like a hamstring or something?
Yeah, thigh maybe something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, he will unfortunately not be there. But still
Not
a lot of
even gonna be
stars out for us. So
dude, for sure. Like we have like a full strength USA squad and then like literally a full strength Portugal squad other than Ronaldo, which some can debate they're a little better with him or not. I don't know. I haven't watched enough Portugal to
Nations
know
League
if
would
they are or not.
say otherwise, but
That's
to each their own.
Like he was scoring like game tires and stuff like that. Like, dude,
he's
still how old is he? He's like 43?
41, I think.
41. Okay. Still balling out. Yeah. Modern medicine is an amazing thing.
It's incredible. I mean, he's a perfect example of it because he's definitely one of the athletes, kind of like Tom Brady, where he just bought completely in since he was like 21 years old and just millions of dollars a year on the bod. So
yeah, and even if you're like a Messi guy like I am, you can still respect that. Like you just respect someone who came from nothing and realized like this is my one and only chance to give my family a life that's this big. And I'm not gonna waste it. Like I'm gonna be so disciplined because I'm not gonna let this chance like pass by and just take such good care of everybody. Like I remember articles and stuff coming out. This is a few years ago now, which is wild to think of. But when he made his move back to Man United for those couple of years, like the stories coming out of like his physicals, and they're just like he's literally in better shape than the 24-year-olds that we have here. And I'm just like, and what was he like 38 or something at the time, like 37,
37, 38, something like that.
So like not super old, but still like.
I mean,
being
dude,
in
that's
that
pretty old, man, for a soccer player.
Yeah. But more and more athletes are playing later. Like you got Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, you had Tom Brady playing super late. But
it's getting later and later for sure.
Yeah, and it'll probably just get later. Like I mean, there's eventually a cutoff where it's like, like we're probably not going to see 60-year-old players playing at the highest level, but like, it's still definitely just the ability to take care of yourself at a high level is definitely out there, and it's just going to get deeper and deeper in people's careers. But like we said, we got a good podcast for you guys. Going to highlight a lot of basketball and soccer, not much NFL, not much going down in that arena, but still a loaded podcast for you guys, and we'll get into it right after this. Alrighty, first round and second round in the books for this year's NCAA tournament. I thought this was a great first round. I don't know what your opinions are on it. Obviously a bit chalky with like the teams that, should move on, did move on for the most part, but some of the games were really, really close. Obviously there was I want to say a handful, maybe a couple of bigger upsets that we didn't see really coming. Some trendy upsets that didn't happen, but all in all, I thought it was a good first, second round. Kind of, what are your initial opinions and reactions to the first round watching it? And did you enjoy it just as much as I did? Probably.
All in all, it was fine. I thought it was a little bit chalky, like you were saying, that's kind of come to be used to that with the new age of NIL and everything. There
Right.
were quite a few blowouts, which is obviously not what you want to see overall. I would have liked to see a few more double-digit seeds pull off some upsets, but overall, it was, the quality was good. I felt like as an overall product, it was solid, but I did see a stat that said that this was like the third year in a row where no teams that were seeded 13 through 16 advanced, which obviously is going to be rare, but you at least get two or three a year where they advance. So I'd like to see a little
Right.
bit more of those kind of teams, but yeah, overall good product.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. Like, there was a couple games that were like really, really, really good. Some, like you were kind of saying, a lot of blowouts, which is what you will get in the
I like
first
the
round a
second
lot of
round
the
a lot
time.
more than the first. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, starts weeding down games into some better games and stuff like that, which we'll get to. But a few highlights from the first round, and obviously I'm a little biased, but and this will kind of like parlay into what we'll talk about at the end of this segment. But Sienna, dude, they gave us hope, man. They were
Love
up
that.
by double digits going into half versus Duke, and I really thought they were going to. They left us with a lot of hope, even late in the second half too, because they came out firing in the second half as well. They were hitting threes. It kind of all, in my opinion, fell apart when Doty got hurt.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've ever heard of this guy in my entire life. Like, I'm not tapped into Sienna basketball other than I knew McNamara played there. But yeah, I really I was watching this game closely, obviously, because it was one of the first games, but also I can't stand Duke. And I was just like, dude, if Duke gets knocked off as the number one overall seed in this tournament, like, I will be the happiest person. Like, that will make my entire tournament, especially with us firing Autry from Syracuse. I was like, dude, they have to give it to McNamara if he wins this game. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. But obviously had a good enough showing. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But what were your initial thoughts on this game? And did you think Sienna was going to pull it off as well? Or did you always kind of know deep down Duke was going to pull it out?
I personally always knew Duke was going to come back. I mean, they're they're too good to play like they did in that first half for the whole game. I thought it was interesting. Sienna obviously gave everybody hope, and there was rumblings around the office, like everybody's like, "Oh, Duke is down. What the heck?" That would have been wild for one of the 16 seed upsets to be against Duke, and especially this Duke team. But I
Mm-hmm.
kind of always thought they would kind of get their act together. What I thought was pretty wild though is the starting five for Sienna playing every single minute of that game, basically
Yeah.
until the last like 20 seconds or whatever, which I thought that was crazy. But I couldn't tell if it was because McNamara didn't trust the guys on his bench, or he just like saw that it was going. Like, I don't know if that's something he does on the reg, where he just keeps his starters in for most of the game, just because they're the
Yeah.
best players and there's not anybody else that's really even can compete. But he just thought it was going good. But I do wonder,
Mm-hmm.
like, if they would have subbed a little bit more, maybe especially in the second half, like if they
Yeah.
could have, gotten a little bit of juice in there, kind of tried to hold on to that lead a little bit more, maybe go a little bit defensive, even though that's maybe not something you necessarily wanted to do, like go on the defensive when you're up against a Duke team that's that explosive. But yeah, it was just a crazy game, and I was kind of hoping that he would finish the game with his first five, because like he subbed with like 10
Yeah.
seconds left or whatever. I was like, that would have been a crazy, because they showed the stat on the screen. I was like, no team has done this in a tournament game since like the mid 70s, like Indiana State or some crap. I think
Yeah.
Larry Bird was on that team or something crazy. So like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna come this far, just leave him in there the last 20 seconds. But
Right.
he put
Right.
some scrub in there with like 10 seconds. Like, how does that kid feel? He gets 10 seconds of
Yeah.
game
Right.
time? Like, bruh. But
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
game overall.
I thought he was subbing in like a senior at first, and then I
Yeah,
was just like, nah, this kid's literally like a sophomore. Like, what are we doing?
right.
And he didn't even set off he didn't even sub off Doty, who was freaking
Right.
hurt.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we doing? Maybe he wants this kid to experience it because he's gonna I don't know. I don't know.
Experience what though? You literally you step on the court and the game's over. So
Yeah, yeah. But I actually just learned this today, and I'm not sure. I was listening to a podcast. I'm pretty sure it's true, but apparently he was missing players. That's the biggest reason he played the five.
oh, interesting.
He apparently was missing like his best player before the season started. I think he's been out all year, and then right before the tournament, they lost another starter or bench guy or whatever. So he was really, at the end of the day, he was left with, I think it was 2 walk-ons or something like that. 2 not rookies, freshmen that literally scored less than like 5 points, like averaged like 5 points a game. And
Interesting.
so I think it was a mix of like this was the game plan, but also like holy shoot, like we're beating Duke.
Yeah, it worked for a
And
half.
it's
So
like, all right, like guys, go leave it all out there. Like win or lose, this is what we're gonna do. So I'm sure it was a little bit about out of necessity, but also a little bit out of like what you were saying. Like, holy crap, we're up 10 against Duke going into half.
right.
Like it ain't broken. Like let's just go until the wheels fall off. And unfortunately, that was kind of their demise. The wheels did fall off. Like playing that long against, like you said, talented, dynamic Duke. Like you're gonna get wore out. So,
Yeah.
it was a good fight from Sienna. This game was actually in Greenville, and I am kicking myself for not going to any games the entire
Yeah.
weekend. I am so upset at myself because that's what talked me out of it. I was like, well, do I really want to just go watch Sienna Duke, like watch
Yeah.
a blowout just to go to a game? Turns out it wasn't a blowout. And turns out the first game of the entire tournament, TCU Ohio State, ended
Yeah.
up being a fantastic game as well. And then I
UNC.
think this is in the doc. Yeah, VCU giant comeback against UNC in
Huge.
Greenville. Missed that game as well, but to kind of touch on that, this was kind of the upset that was trendy as well. A lot of people saw VCU beating UNC, but I don't think in this fashion, like
Yeah.
UNC giving up like a 19-point deficit or something like that. It was
For sure.
crazy. Did
Yeah,
you pick this in your bracket?
yeah, no, I did not. So I was pretty locked. I wasn't locked into this game until the end, but I was score watching, and I remember that was kind of the one that I was on the fence on the fence about. I was like, okay, I could see VCU winning, but just kind of picked with the potential, maybe with the coach a little bit, which was kind of stupid because the coach isn't even there anymore. But so I ended up picking UNC, and I remember like watching the score, and I'm like, okay, they're up 20, so that ended up being a good pick. Like I'm golden there. And the next thing I knew was a game, and then I started watching it, and they ended up losing. I was like, what on earth? But like you said, I think we were kind of debating it on the pod. Like, do we go VCU? It's a pretty hot pick for an 11 over a 6. But yeah, I unfortunately picked UNC in my personal bracket and came to regret it. So
Oof, tough. Yeah, I had VCU beating UNC in my bracket, and um, I did not. I thought VCU was actually going to handle UNC. I didn't think UNC was going to play as well as they did. But yeah, ended up squandering that lead, and that will be another coaching, probably the biggest coaching carousel piece that we'll kind of touch on later in the segment as well. But with UNC letting go of Hubert Davis after 5 years, I didn't realize that he's been there 5 years already.
yeah,
Like time's flown, bro.
right
Since
after
like
Roy
Roy.
Williams.
Yeah, he was the
COVID.
successor. He was handpicked by him. There's a lot of names being thrown out there that we'll touch on here in a little bit, but and then probably the next biggest thing of the entire first round, High Point beats Wisconsin. This was another one that was it was less trendy of a upset pick that people were kind of picking around the country, but not out of the realm of possibility in people's minds because High Point had a pretty hefty NIL not donation, but like they spent a lot in NIL. Not quite up there with like obviously these big high major power conference teams. But ends up beating Wisconsin, which we were kind of back and forth on this one when we picked it because we were both high on Wisconsin, but we were also like, we need an upset. I think we ended up going with the Wisconsin just with the way that they've been playing near the end of the season. So this one was definitely definitely kind of more out of nowhere than the rest of them. But dude, white boy of the tournament in this game, man. Like heat check from the logo, and then game winner, first two that he's made all year.
I know.
Like Jack Golke reincarnate.
Literally.
Dude, this was like what the tournament's all about, is like these moments with like no name, low major teams getting the big upset with a led by a sharpshooting white boy, man. It was great.
Yeah, I did like a lot of the things that Wisconsin was doing this year, but I remember seeing stats about this kid before the tournament even started, about, like you were saying, Jack Golke 2.0 hasn't made a two-pointer the entire year, and he's attempted like hundreds of threes. I was like, I should have known immediately that I should have picked High Point over Wisconsin, because that's all the makings of a Cinderella right there, or at
Yeah.
least a squad that can go win a game as a double-digit seed. So definitely should have picked High Point when I saw that going down, but somehow talked my way into Wisconsin and their potential. But again, one of those crazy games where, like, it's one basket, they don't make that layup at the end. You never know. Like, everybody's like, oh yeah, Wisconsin took care of business kind of thing. But I feel like people don't even realize like how difficult that last layup is. Like, a lot of people were giving him crap
Yeah.
because he traveled, but he's, which I think it's kind of fair to some extent, but like for him to go full speed like that for a guy that never attempts layups or two-pointers, period, to still be able to hit that, even though it's just a layup, I thought was still pretty impressive. And obviously clutch shot with it being, towards the the last few seconds of the game. So big
Yeah.
props to him. What's his name? Chase Johnston or something?
Chase Johnson, yeah. I was trying to remember his name.
Yeah, cherry on top of everything too. He wears number 99, which you like never see in basketball.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pretty sick.
Yeah. And did you see the reason that he wears 99?
I did not know.
He wears 99 because of the parable of the 99 sheep, and the shepherd going to find the one that left the flock, and he was giving all the glory to God after the game too, which
I know
you
High
love
Point's
to
like
see.
a Christian school, I think. So yeah, that's cool
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, it was cool to see him do that. We always like to see that after games, like, in your biggest, like, that's by far, I don't know him personally obviously, but like that's by far probably one of the biggest moments of his life, and in that moment to be able to,
Can't
like,
judge him. What if he has something else?
it's true. I'm just like, this is
Just kidding.
this is pure speculation on my part, but just the fact that he's in like maybe the biggest moment of his life and he's giving glory to God, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. But
Yeah.
great game. I watched the end of this game because, again, like, when you're watching on your phone and you don't really want to have two games on because the screen gets really tiny, and you definitely don't want to have four on because the screen's too tiny.
Right.
You gotta pick and choose what games you want to watch because you're like, you want as much screen as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not one that I had on, but I was watching the score and I was like, shoot, High Point's winning. High Point's gonna win. And then they ended up winning. So it was a fun game to watch for sure. Kind of a, yeah, this is big. Like, nothing that I was like keeping super track of. And Nebraska gets their first tourney win, which we both picked. They had a good first round draw for sure. So
I feel like that's not talked about enough. Like, obviously you're used to some of the smaller teams, when they get to the tournament every once in a while, can't talk, and they're always in there as like a 14, 15, 16 seed. But like, Nebraska is like a huge like state school. Like, you'd think that they'd be in the tournament, sporadically throughout the 70 years that, that's been a thing, and they'll get a win here or there. But for them to come all the way into 2026 and not have a dub is pretty wild.
Insane. Absolutely. And this was one that we kind of tossed up. We figured Nebraska would win, but we're like, I don't know. Troy, like, Nebraska kind of fell off there at the end of the season. I was happy to see that they won the way they did, because it was like, we're meant to be here, and to get their first tournament win in like a emphatic fashion, like 76-47, like leaving no doubt, like not having to like
Another
sneak
white
past.
boy going crazy.
Yeah, dude, could not miss.
Sanford.
It was crazy, yeah, man. But yeah,
his older brother plays for the Thunder in the NBA.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
He's
that.
on a two-way.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. That's good to know. Little OKC link there, but good for Nebraska getting their first tourney win, and we'll touch on them in a little bit because not only getting their first tourney win, but making a decent little run here for the first time, literally the first time ever because they've never won a game before. But
Mm.
before we touch on that, probably the last big kind of notable thing that happened in the first round, the Santa Clara Kentucky game was one to remember. Like 2.3 seconds left. Santa Clara hits a three to go up by 3. They think they won the game. Santa Clara's coach is trying to call a timeout. Refs don't see him or don't award the timeout. Otega Owe gets the ball right after half court, banked in a 3, sends it to overtime. Kentucky ends up winning the game, but this was like the first true buzzer beater. I think it was like the only buzzer beater of the tournament up to this
Unfortunately, yeah.
point. So we didn't see a lot of close games like that, but hype
Yeah.
game. Were you watching this game? I know again we have to pick and choose, but
I was watching the end of it when I saw it was close. But this for me is peak March Madness
yeah.
experience when you have not only like a back and forth game, it
Mm-hmm.
feels like no one's really missing in the last minute half of the game, but to have like less than 10 seconds on the clock and you get the Santa Clara 3, that's already hype enough. But then to double down and to get the buzzer beater, and not only a buzzer beater, but like from way downtown half court style, like
Mm-hmm.
that's just peak right there. Like to
Yeah.
not have a miss in there when it's just 3 and then like boom, another one, like kind of like the Villanova UNC when like UNC, like the buzzer beater everyone talks about, where UNC gets a huge bucket and then like Villanova comes back down and hits that 3 at the buzzer and everybody goes nuts. Like that's peak March Madness right there, where you have 2 or sometimes even 3 buckets like with 10, 15 seconds left to go, and it's just high after high. Is lit. That's what makes March Madness in my opinion.
Dude, for sure, man. Like I remember watching this because I was at work and I had like game was coming down to the wire, and so I was just like, I'm gonna just watch the end of this because I picked Santa Clara because this was another kind of trendy pick, but like Santa Clara was playing well coming into the tournament, so it was like, all right, like we could see that, and I was not high on Kentucky at all. But they played well in this game, and that was kind of like the coin flip that we were kind of going back and forth on. I got the dude literal buzzer beater right here, crazy, just dude off glass, boom, got it, dude, absolutely crazy, love it. Um, but yeah, I was not high on Kentucky at all, and I was just like not sure what Kentucky we're gonna end up getting, but we got a Kentucky and a good performance from like Chandler and Owe, so it was but Santa Clara played well. Their point guard had some crazy stupid decisions. He got blocked like twice in overtime trying to shoot over like a 7-footer, and I'm just
Right.
like what are we doing? Like the game is like within reach. We don't have to throw the game away just because we think we got to be the guy, but obviously he wanted to be, and it cost him the game there. But really, really good game, and that was like what you said. That's what March Madness is about. The buzzer beaters, even if it's just to send it to overtime, dude. But like your season on the line,
Yeah.
and you just throw up a prayer and banks it in of all things. So
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I said. I may have insinuated that he got that 3 to win. But yeah, that was just a tie, unfortunately. So
yeah,
that was going into overtime if I'm not mistaken, right?
yeah, that had
Yeah,
that had an overtime
that's what I thought.
with that shot. So with that shot might have saved Mark Pope's job because he has not. They have not made deep runs
Yeah,
with
that's your
Mark
that's
Pope
your
at that.
BYU guy over there, homie.
Used to be my BYU guy. He did honestly about the same at BYU. Like this was about what they were doing with Mark Pope. So this might be the
Yeah.
ceiling with Mark Pope, but
What what
um
what do you gotta say? I know I texted you this, but like what do you gotta say about Kentucky? Like if they would have lost this would have been like what, their fourth, I wanna say, first/second round exit in 5 years here for the Wildcats.
yeah, it would have been bad.
I
It would have been bad.
mean, what are we doing over there? Used to be a blue blood. What are we doing?
Yeah, kind of like what you said in the text, like slowly slipping out of that blue blood status. Like
Yeah.
even the few years that Calipari was there where they started tapering off and exiting super early, like I don't know, man. Kentucky just ain't what it used to be. And now in the era of NIL, man, where everybody can be good, everybody can pay players, hit the transfer portal, it's a lot harder to stay at the top. Like that prestige doesn't get you as far as it used to. Like just being Kentucky or Kansas or UNC doesn't do a whole lot for you anymore. It's all about how deep are your pockets and if you have a decent coach. We're starting to see that, like especially in this day and age where you're literally remaking rosters every year. Like if you have a good coach that can bring in new players, get them to play cohesively and like just play well together, like you'll go far. But like the teams that are trying to stick with the old ways and get away from the one and dones and just do it the old way, it's not working anymore. So
Yeah,
it's
I mean, they'll
interesting.
always be a blue blood just because of their history and obviously how many national
Right.
titles and Final Fours they have and their coaching and everything. But yeah, definitely not playing like one the last several years. That's for sure. I mean, they haven't even sniffed an Elite Eight, a Final Four in several years, unless I'm missing a year in there somewhere where they did it. But a lot of first and second round exits, I guess,
Yeah.
for the Kentucky Wildcats. I mean, they're already out now, so
Mm-hmm.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like someone was saying today, like if you're like a blue blood where you're like UNC, and they were alluding to more of like UNC because they were talking like the Herbert Davis fire and all that. They're like Final Four should be on your radar literally every year if you're that type of program. Like that should be the standard. Like not kind of like what Kentucky's been doing, not making the tournament every year and like exiting first or second round. Like that's not what a blue blood does. Like you're supposed to be relevant every year. And sadly a lot of these, and like I can't talk much because Syracuse is in that conversation as well. Like
For sure.
maybe not quite a blue blood, but definitely a perennial uh top 20 program historically, and just
Yeah.
not quite there
Just looked up
as of late.
Kentucky's last several seasons. 19 was the last time they made it to the Elite Eight, and since then, COVID year where they had no postseason, so we'll give them a pass. Then they were 25-6 that year, but since then it's been 9-16, didn't make the tournament. First round exit, second round exit, first round exit, Sweet 16, second round exit. So not great for the
No.
Kentucky Wildcats as of late.
Sweet 16, that was last year?
I was
No,
last year. Yeah.
they made a Sweet 16 last year?
Won a couple games there. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Well, they had who did they have on their team last year? They have Reed Shepherd last year? I can't remember.
Yeah, they did. No. Reed Shepherd was his one and done season was the Oakland year that they
Okay.
lost to Oakland.
Gotcha.
But they did
Another
have a better
team,
team last year.
just for a little bit of context, UNC also in that group since 2000. We'll give them 2020 because that year wasn't. They wouldn't have made the tournament during COVID either. They're 14-19. First round exit and then division runner up. They made it to the championship that year. I remember that one.
Mhm.
And then didn't make the tournament. Sweet 16, first round.
Oof.
So a little bit of
Oof.
struggle bus for them as well.
Yeah. Rest of the country's getting better. These blue bloods gotta figure some things out. Like they're again, like it's just weird seeing like UNC be bad. I wouldn't say Kansas is bad, but definitely not as dominant as they've been in the past years. Kentucky, I mean Duke's just always gonna be good apparently. It sucks to see and
They just have
hear, but
players that it's like impossible to like fail with. Just
yeah.
like generational after generational. But
And that is the one place that I think, regardless of the money, Duke is one of those places still where it's like, holy crap, I'm gonna go play at Duke.
yeah.
Like I'm gonna like every player in the country. If it was like Duke and anywhere else, they would go
Yeah.
to Duke. And
Should
so,
just for fun, I pulled up Syracuse. Would you like to hear their most recent years since
what'd you
COVID?
pull up? Can you share it? I can't see it.
So just the last several
Oh no.
seasons. So we had no COVID year. They might have made it at 18-14. Then you
Yeah.
had Sweet 16, missed tournament, missed tournament, missed tournament, missed tournament.
So literally since 2021, we haven't been there.
You've been
When we made the
basically
Sweet
at 500 like every year.
16.
Tough.
Dude.
But hey, you're on the come up now, so.
Yeah, we got McNamara, so we great. We back. We back. Just trying to push that into existence. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's kind of a wrap on the first round. I thought it was a decent first round. Again, there weren't a whole lot of things going on, a lot of blowouts. But second round, and I threw this into the second round just because I thought it was more relevant to the second round. But Texas making it out of the first four, beating BYU, then Gonzaga, and find themselves in the Sweet 16. Not a true Cinderella, in my opinion, because sure, they're a double-digit seed, but like coming out of a power conference, out of the SEC, like, I don't know.
Doesn't fit the criteria for me either. So,
because like 2021, I wouldn't call that a Cinderella run from. You could probably put them in like dark horse category.
Underdog.
Yeah, same with like the 2021 run from Syracuse, making the Sweet 16 in that year. But I mean, props to Texas. I mean, they beat NC State, which they were kind of on a decline heading into the tournament, barely made it in, just like Texas. Beat them. BYU team that in my opinion, thought that they were good enough to beat Texas, but I guess I was wrong. Even though Debanza went for 35 in that game, just can't play any defense against them. And then beat a Gonzaga team that I don't think either of us were very high on, and they were missing their second best player. So kind of saw that coming, even though I thought BYU could beat Texas, which I thought they could. That's when I thought BYU could beat Gonzaga because I wasn't very high on Gonzaga. And I was like, Debanza's going to be able to play well in that game. But lo and behold, it's Texas. So what do you think about Texas making it to the Sweet 16 and possibly further? Who's their matchup? They're playing
Purdue.
Maybe.
Yeah, I do like Texas. It's kind of been out of nowhere because they've kind of been kind of average all year.
Yeah.
One and done in the SEC tournament, so nothing you know to really raise eyebrows about there. But I will be tuning into them for sure because like despite the fact that they started in the first four, they put together 3 really solid wins against teams that are like they're not your typical just double digit seeds that you expect them to win a game over. Like NC State was a solid team. BYU obviously have possibly the number 1 pick in the draft next year. Gonzaga's a top 3 seed, obviously maybe undeserved, but still a good squad.
Definitely undeserved.
So I'm just looking at like how tested they are now, like with these 3 games, like how much they can apply that to Purdue. Obviously, Purdue's a really, really good squad. They're, one of the favorites to maybe win the whole thing this year. But I think Texas might have, caught lightning in a bottle a little bit here. Obviously, they're squeaking away wins a little bit. But again, I think that also shows that they, are a super tested team and they know how to deal with those games where it gets where it's really tight late on. So I'm really curious to see what they do against Purdue. If they beat Purdue, man, I mean, who's to say they couldn't go all the way to the, at least the Final Four, maybe even the championship.
Yeah, definitely dark horse status for sure. Looking really good as they.
It's like that UConn team, like with Kemba Walker. I mean, they were kind of mid all year. Went on a crazy run in their conference tournament, which obviously Texas didn't do, but then they just kept winning game after game, just kind of finding their mojo and win the whole thing. But I don't know if they have a Kemba Walker on their team, unfortunately.
Probably not. But it's reminiscent of like the NC State team in recent memory. Won their conference tournament in wild fashion, made it all the way to the Final Four. So we've definitely seen crazier things happen. So good for Texas. Probably the biggest surprise of the whole entire second round, Iowa versus Florida, man. Did not have this on the bingo card at all. I had Florida matching up with Houston coming out of this region. Well, I guess Houston coming out of this region, but I had them playing Florida to get out of this region. Not to be, because Iowa Hawkeyes, man.
Out of nowhere.
Dude, definitely out of nowhere. I did not see this coming because I just thought Florida was just so big and athletic. They're just a matchup nightmare for anybody. But, dude, Ben McCollum is a coach, bro. He is a coach, man, and he had such a great game plan, especially in the end game scenario against Florida. And we can kind of just jump to that, dude. Like, what was Florida thinking at the end of this game? Like, they wanted to foul somebody that wasn't Sturts, let Sturts get the ball, and left whatever his name was in the corner wide open for 3 for the game. Like,
I know.
wild scenes, man. Like, what are we doing?
I'm not really sure what they were thinking on that. I feel like Todd Golden has kind of been, heralded as this incredible coach for his age, which he is for sure, but definitely a little bit maybe of a lapse in judgment there. I'm not sure if that was a coaching thing or maybe it was just a miscommunication on the court. But super surprising one here. Obviously, you go into every March Madness game with giving the other team a shot, but I definitely thought Florida would kind of handle the Hawkeyes here. I didn't see much out of Iowa, and maybe that makes me a casual Iowa or Big Ten observer, which would be completely fair because I definitely am one. But I definitely thought Florida would handle them. I was really unimpressed with Boogie Fland. I thought he had a pretty bad day overall. Obviously, not really being able to contribute much, not just on the stat sheet, but really much else. He had several turnovers and some really bad spots, and some of their other more experienced guys like Condon or Hout weren't really able to elevate them. And that's kind of one of the things I said when we were previewing everything, is like one of the concerns for Florida, maybe for an early round exit, was just the fact that basically their top scorer is the glue guy from last year and Tommy Hout, who's like, he's a fine player, but he's not like that dog that you pass the ball to and let him create kind of thing. Another thing, I know you didn't mention this, but we were talking about this off pod. Horrible last possession, by the way, on I'm not sure if, obviously I don't think that's what the coach drew up, but terrible possession, took way too much time, tried to pass the ball at the end. If I'm Todd Golden with 5 seconds left and you're down 1, I'm putting the Frenchman who's freaking 8 feet tall under the basket, throwing something up there, whether it be a pass or a shot, and just letting him like tip the ball in there, bro. Like, I really don't understand why they don't use this kid more than in garbage time. Like, there's so many times where you can just put him next to somebody. I mean, a 6'9" dude looks like a midget next to this dude. So, like, what are we freaking doing? Like, putting, I don't know how I'm like the only one that thought of that. Like, you have an 8-footer on your team. You're down 1. All you need is a tip in to win the game. I don't understand why he wasn't in the game there. And again, they've used him like not at all. Like, he's a sophomore now, and they've just used him, very sparingly, just kind of as a token you throw in at garbage time to get all the fans hype. So I didn't get that one at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Dropping the ball by Todd Golden and the
Florida. Do you agree with that? Like, what are they doing with that dude?
Yeah. Wait, what dude? I totally missed.
Oliver Ryu or whatever. Like the dude that's like 7'10".
Oh, yeah.
He's the French guy, or French Canadian or some crap like that.
Yeah. I guess he's still, I think he's technically a redshirt freshman, so I don't know.
7'9", 305, bro.
Yeah, he came out of IMG, right?
Yeah.
So he's definitely played basketball. It's not like some kid you picked up off the streets of, where's he from? France?
He says he's French Canadian, but whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even need to know basketball, dude. Like, just put him under the basket and let him just tip the ball in there,
Yeah. But at the same
every
time,
now and then I see clips about him, and everybody goes nuts when he gets any type of playing time.
Yeah. But like at the same time, you got 3 guys that are giving you solid minutes that are almost 7 foot. So like, you don't find a need to play somebody that young who.
But I'm not saying they need to play him more. I'm just saying for that one possession at the end where you need one basket and you're down 1, just put him under the hoop.
Yeah, instead of what you ended up running.
Yeah,
with lead,
because one
driving baseline and
one they didn't even get a shot off. But like, if he's up there, maybe you shoot earlier or just alley-oop it to him. Nobody's like even at his shoulder length, so just let him like little tip in there. Like, I didn't get that like at all. But
yeah.
I never meant that
Crazy.
he needs to play more than a few minutes a game.
Just
I
for
just meant
that
for
moment,
that
yeah.
possession. Put him in there, dude.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure. Like, you got this wild card on your bench. Like, your season's almost over to Iowa. Like, let's
That's
do
why you
something.
keep an 8-foot kid on your roster for like situations like that.
Moments like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But anyway,
Also
I
wild,
digress.
dude. Did you see all the graphics and stuff going around of Iowa's players, like where they all started college and where they're playing now?
I did not. Are they all from different schools?
Dude, they're all it's literally, so you got Sturts, who Missouri State, which is literally JUCO, and then you got the guy. How do you say, is it Fulgaris? Fulgaris, the guy that hit the game
Fulgaris,
winner.
sure.
Robert Morris. Then you had like two dudes playing at Wyoming, some dude from Florida, Northwest Florida State, and then Division Two.
School.
And then Ben McCullum obviously brought players from Drake with him, and then some scrub from Villanova. That's the team that beat Florida. Like a bunch of JUCO kids, mid majors, and like Northwest Florida State. Is that even? That's got to be like Division III, right?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Northwest Missouri State's in there too. That's some wild.
Yeah, and that's obviously where Sturts came from. But like, bro, I'm just like. Dude, that's insane. Like, in what world does Florida lose to them? And the other thing is Sturts, who's actually like really, really good. Obviously, he came from, Northwest Missouri State, went to Drake with Ben McCullum. Ben McCullum brought him to Iowa. Some people didn't know if he would actually do well at Iowa or not. He went like 0 for 9 from 3 in this game. Like, their best player didn't even play that well. And I thought this would actually be, I had Iowa in my bracket winning this, but I actually thought this was like a good matchup for Florida because Florida's guards are actually pretty undersized, and so is our Iowa's guards. And I was like, has to be a great matchup for Florida. They definitely have the size advantage, experience advantage. But yeah, man, like, this is just why we love the tournament. When things seem to make sense, they really don't, and they make sense in a different way. So good for Iowa moving on. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
Missouri State
else.
is D2. Northwest Florida is JUCO school. So.
Okay, gotchas.
What a jump. Like, that's got to be just a massive, like, going from JUCO straight to D1. Like, there's two whole divisions between there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wild jump.
Yeah.
Props.
I mean, but ball is ball, man. I know, like, that is a jump, dude, but there are guys that can play at all different levels everywhere. It's crazy. Moving on, the best game of the entire second round, and maybe even the entire tournament up to this point. I don't know. That can be up for debate. St. John's versus Kansas at the buzzer, dude.
Johnnies, man.
Finally, an actual buzzer beater for the win. Point guard for St. John's. I can't remember his name. They call him Bells. Called his shot. Darling, yeah, I think, is his actual last name. But called his shot. Said he wanted the ball at the end. High pick and roll, drive to the basket, no time left. Right hand, which is not his dominant hand, for the win. Johnny's move on past Bill Self and Kansas. Did you watch this game? I know this was one of the highly anticipated games, and even the game that people saw coming up if both could move on from the first round. So
I'm sure. Yeah, no, for sure. I was huge on this game just because St. John's is actually in my Final Four as a 5 seed. So this one was big time for my bracket. So pretty hyped that the Johnnies came away with the dub in this one. And I really do think they could go all the way. I think they have the right mixture of, balance on offense, defense. They have the guy that you can go to kind of get you there in Mr. Zubi Ejiofor. And then their coach. Obviously, their coach is the biggest component of the whole thing, Patino. That guy's got so much aura, dude. Like, his team was up 20-2, and he's still coaching his team like they're down 20-2.
Yeah.
So I just love everything I see out of not just their team, but obviously their coach as well. So, and super hyped to get that last second shot over Kansas and Bill Self. And kind of sending home a team that a lot of people have doubted all year as kind of being one of the top contenders in Kansas. Obviously, a lot of questions around Darren Peterson and company. But yeah, I guess a lot of those came to fruition as they, by their standards at least, have a pretty early exit.
Yeah. I mean, if St. John's can make it to the Final Four, dude, this adds so much to an already amazing career and legacy that Rick Pitino has. Like, taking St. John's to the Final Four 2 years into being the head coach of that team that was absolutely broken and disheveled and just nowhere on anybody's national radar for the longest time.
Yeah.
And beating Kansas and like on their way to having a huge matchup in the Sweet 16 against Duke.
Yeah.
And if they can beat Duke,
I
man,
mean,
they could beat anybody. Like,
people
for
talk
real.
about this all the time, but like I am a firm believer, like if he obviously he was at Kentucky for like 8-9 years back in like the 90s, and then he took that Celtics job. And then somewhere in there I know he had some like legal troubles, whatever went on there. I think it was at Louisville, but he was at Louisville for a long time. If he never went to the Celtics and just stayed with Kentucky, or even if he just like, had Kentucky and Louisville on his resume, like he would have been up there with like Coach K and like a lot of those other legendary coaches we talk about all the time. We still talk about him in legendary, conversations because he's been to the tournament with so many like no-name teams at this point, like Iona and like now with St. John's,
Yeah.
Providence, like all these teams that you don't really mention with the big boys of the NCAA tournament, but not just getting them there, also having a couple national titles of his own, 7 or 8 Final Fours. Like, I mean, he's incredible, and no matter where he goes, he's going to attract not necessarily the highest level of talent, but like high enough talent where he can use them and get them pretty far in the tournament. So I can't say enough about him, and I think he's a pretty big what if. Like, if he never went to the Celtics, what if he, didn't get in trouble at Louisville and have to quit and go to Europe for a couple years? Like, just crazy. So
Yeah. And he was like so close to like just hanging up. I can't say the shoes, but like hanging up the clipboard or whatever, not coaching again. And then he went to Europe and kind of fell in love with basketball again, came back and was like, yeah, I'm going to give this another try. Went to Iona, now with St. John's, and doing
Iona, like
pretty well.
who, like the heck, dude, Iona.
Yeah. And
Never
you have to fall in love with basketball again to take an Iona job just to
I
get
know.
back into Division I basketball. Like,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I guess desperate might be the word to use, but like that, you gotta love it to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go coach at Iona,
Yeah.
and the other thing too is also like he's pretty comfortable at St. John's. Like he's gonna be at St. John's for probably till he retires.
Yeah. I mean,
He's
they're in
not
New
using
York, so that's where he's from. So
Yeah.
might as well just chill there.
Yeah, he looks like a freaking New Jersey mafia boss,
He
like
does.
on
He
the
does.
side. Probably
Iona's
is,
from
but
New York too, so that kind of made sense as well.
right, absolutely. Kind of, when you've done everything up to that point, like kind of what you were saying, like on his resume just is insane already.
Yeah.
You just start picking things based on like what's going to make you the happiest, and like, being around home, and coaching like that, not having all the pressure of like coaching a blue blood like Kentucky or Louisville.
Yeah.
You
Fun
kinda start thinking
fact,
like
I just
that.
looked it up. He spent time in the 70s as an assistant at Syracuse, hired by
Really?
Jim Boeheim. Shows you how long Boeheim's
Wow.
been there, dude.
Good old
70s?
Jimmy. It all comes full circle.
Goodness.
All comes back the 70s. That's crazy. Just shows how
Wild.
freaking old he is too, dude. Like, and
That
still
too.
coaching.
Yeah.
And just the energy that he still has, insane.
I know it.
Absolutely insane. All right, last game of the second round. More so just like the end of the game. Nebraska survives Vanderbilt with a half court heave that was literally halfway down into the basket. But lo and behold, bounces out and Vanderbilt goes home. Nebraska moving on to the Sweet 16 for the first time ever after getting their first tournament win in school history. Did you watch this game? I actually did not. I'm not sure what was going on, but dude,
my goodness.
I saw the ending to that game, man, and absolutely insane. Insane.
This was the best game of the entire tournament so far. Obviously the group chat was going nuts. A lot of text back and forth, but yeah, this game was hype basically the whole second half. I mean, shot for shot, the pace of the game was super high. So, it was one of those games that you felt like you couldn't not like you couldn't take your eyes off it because you were gonna miss something.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like every time someone made a big shot, other team would come down on the other end. I kind of really fell in love with the Vanderbilt team as the second half went on. Just Tyler Nickel, their 3-point sniper, he was hitting some huge shots. Obviously, Tyler Tanner, their guard, was going crazy. They had a dude named Chandler Bing on their roster, which I thought was amazing.
I love that.
And then all of this while Nebraska had absolutely packed out the arena with their fans, dude. So obviously their fan base taking advantage of the fact that they won their first game. I'm not exactly sure if they had quite the support like they did for the first game, like they did for the second game, but holy dude, it was basically an away game for Vanderbilt. So just seeing them kind of come back and get the lead for most of the last 5 minutes or so, and then having Nebraska come and snatch it from them at the end was pretty wild. But absolutely insane game. Huge respect to both teams. Would have loved to see Vanderbilt come away with the dub, not just because I had them, but just kind of what I was seeing as well. With a lot of their players that I just mentioned. But yeah, props to Nebraska for kind of pulling it out there towards the end. Sanford didn't quite have the game he had in the first round, but still a pretty good showing from him, especially from deep.
Yeah, for sure. And that sets us up with a fantastic Sweet 16. I know this isn't in the doc, but we can quickly kind of just look over it. Like, we have games. Obviously, probably the biggest game that people are talking about, Duke versus St. John's, gonna be cinema. Michigan State, UConn, like crazy. The Battle of the Corn, Iowa and Nebraska.
That's a huge rivalry, by the way. Like, that's gonna be lit.
Yeah, Big Ten rivalry going down. Both teams playing well. Like, it's going to be crazy. And then you got the battle of literal play styles, Illinois and Houston. Like, Illinois being one of, I think they're like a top 3 offense in the country. Houston being a top 4 defense in the country.
Yeah.
Gonna be wild. 2 freshmen that are playing
Slight
out of
side
their
note
minds.
on Illinois real quick. Did you see the hypest play of March Madness so far?
Yeah, you
That
sent
one
that to
dude,
me. Holy cow.
block on one end, come down the other way, body on the other end, dude.
He stuck
It's
that
like,
kid
let
in
me
a
show you how
body
to dunk
bag.
it, boys.
Yeah, dude.
Jam it on him.
Dude. Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So lit.
Yeah, you sent me that and I was like, oof. Dude, like, what a highlight. What a clip.
The announcer makes it so much better too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
apparently it was some white boy on white boy crying there, like some Europeans. He's like, "Take me to the Balkans, brother," or whatever he says. So funny.
Dude, that's
Loved it.
amazing. That's amazing, dude. Oh my word. Yeah, that clip was so good. I
was all
didn't see that game, but that was epic. That was epic. Then we got Arizona, obviously, arguably probably one of the, like, obviously a number 1 seed in the tournament, but I would actually say they're probably the best team in the tournament so far. You could say Michigan or Duke, but I think Arizona's playing at an incredibly high level, as they have all year, against freshman of the year maybe, Darius Acuff, dude, absolutely popping off against
Bowling.
Calipari. That kind of goes back to like the whole Mark Pope and like Calipari. Like, Calipari was forced out, and sure, it wasn't looking great there, but like, this just shows like there's levels to coaches, and like, slots into Arkansas, and obviously it gets a hefty NIL deal and everything going on. Not deal, but like, he's got a lot of NIL money that he has at his disposal, so that definitely helps out a ton.
Yeah,
but
but
like,
it's still freaking Arkansas.
it's
dude.
Arkansas,
like,
and like last year when everybody was like down on them, they didn't like necessarily almost miss the tournament, but definitely they were like a 10 seed, made the Sweet 16 in Calipari's first year with like a hodgepodge roster thrown together, and then this year has like the freshman of the year in Darius Acuff,
dog.
and an absolute dog, and has a decent chance to beat Arizona and make it to the Elite Eight. So
I have them in the Final Four, so freaking go, boys.
You have Arkansas in the Final Four?
I freaking do. St. John's in
Crazy.
Arkansas, man. We're going out on a limb.
Gotchas. And then we got Texas Purdue with Texas playing hot, but like you kind of alluded to early. Did I just say Texas? Purdue, I don't know. I'm messing up my words here. Sorry. Purdue's playing hot, but Texas is also on a really, really good run from the first four. So definitely could see that one going either way. And then we got Michigan versus Alabama, with Alabama shooting the lights out the last two games. Michigan looking a really, really good, rolling teams. And then the team that I didn't think would be here, but you called all along, Tennessee, super high on Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
Always been there, done that. And I didn't realize it. They've been in the Sweet 16 for like a billion years. Like always in the Sweet 16,
Rick
never
Barnes,
making the Final
my
Four.
dude. Rick Barnes
Versus Iowa State, even though they're missing Joshua Jefferson. Not sure what his stats going to be. This is the last game on Friday in the Sweet 16, so plenty of time to hopefully heal up. I don't even know the status. I think he like sprained his ankle or something like that pretty badly. Not sure if he's going to play. They definitely need him. I don't know if they need him in this game, but Gillespie and versus Lipsy is going to be absolute cinema. So not that we have to keep this long-winded, but what game are you looking forward to, even if it's like the generic one that everyone is?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of just taking your pick, right? I mean, the Tennessee one that you mentioned is really good. I really like the Arkansas one just because of obviously the freshman, like you were saying, Acuff. He might go for 35 again. Illinois Houston is spicy too. He's got the, obviously Houston is my champion, so you can't go wrong with that. And then the rivalry, Iowa Nebraska.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's just, which one do you want? Like St. John's, Duke? Like, let me see if I can narrow this down to just one.
It's hard, dude. I mean,
probably the most Michigan State UConn is slept on too.
It is, man. I think that might be mine, to be honest. UConn versus Michigan State.
I think Johnny's in Duke, honestly.
I mean,
the great coach against the stacked squad, like that's gonna be really, really good. So I'd probably pick that one if I had to pick just one.
Right. Yeah. And this is definitely a weekend where it's like you gotta watch every game if you can. Like if you're not glued to your TV, you better have a good reason not to be, because every one of these games, and we could be wrong, like you could get to it and it's like, oh yeah, Michigan State is destroying UConn, or oh shoot, Texas has finally run out of road and Purdue is just definitely so much better than them. Like those are all possibilities, but on paper, like these are all going to be fantastic games, and it's going to be.
Thankfully, we don't have any more
weekend.
games at like 2 p.m. anymore. So,
dude, true. Like they're all later in the day. Yeah, like they start at like 7 or something like that. There are some late tips, but like we can deal with late tips. But you know, like 12:15, 1:30, 2:30, like that doesn't work when you got a normal 9 to 5.
It always cracks me up, like how specific they get. It's like tea times. It's like, all right, this game starts at 2:36. Like, be there.
Like what? Like we can't start at 12 or 12:30. Like no, 12 and a half. Like what are we doing? But obviously a huge weekend coming up. Very quickly before we get out of here, I know this isn't super exciting, but there's some news that I'm pretty excited about, so I'm going to be a little selfish here. Save that for the very, very end. But biggest news coming out of the coaching carousel, Hubert Davis out at UNC. Obviously, there's a ton of names kind of being floated around. I don't know if you have an opinion on that. Who should kind of take their name? I know I saw a tweet today that like Billy Donovan's kind of contingency, not contingency. What is the word I'm looking for? Like the group of people around him, is kind of actually like just with the whole Bulls situation not looking all that great, are actually trying to convince him to like come out of the NBA and go back to college. And I think that would be that'd be a huge hire for UNC. Like obviously with those Florida teams going back to back, and just having a great run with Florida, obviously a proven coach at this level. So that would be huge for them. They're kind of trying to get out of the family, which is what they did before, with Hubert succeeding. But I don't know if you have an opinion on who should take it or who you think will be front runner.
Yeah, obviously Davis, everybody kind of became, just kind of old kind of the same old the last several years, not really being able to do much since that championship run several years ago. Obviously he's from North Carolina, played there, coached there, kind of a Autry situation, almost to a T. He was assistant there for several years under Roy Williams, then kind of got handed the job. But I think I think Billy Donovan would be an awesome hire. Obviously, last time he was in college, like you said, he's winning back-to-back national titles. Spent a lot of time in the NBA. He's with my Thunder for a good while, making the playoffs with good teams there. I also think that a lot of people were kind of floating Nate Oates out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nate Oates probably has everything that he wants as far as NIL and making the tournament on a pretty regular basis and a top 5 seed for several years in a row. The only thing I think that could probably sway him is obviously the blue-bloodedness of UNC and just like the history and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think he has everything he wants at Alabama, so I don't really see that happening as much. But yeah, I just think Billy Donovan would be a great fit there if they wanted to go outside the UNC family and go after a guy who's proven it, at least in college. Kind of been mid in the NBA if I'm honest, especially with the Bulls. But yeah, that would be an awesome hire for them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any other. I mean, there's talks that Bill Self might retire or move on after this year. Things that
Yeah,
Kansas
they
haven't been.
floated Mark Few out there too, I believe.
Mark Fuse. Yeah, there's a lot of names, but the difference between like trying to find a coach in this cycle and like say 10 years ago is like again that blue-blooded kind of moniker that you have is just it doesn't hold the weight. Like 10 years ago, UNC job comes open, every coach in America wants that job. Just the prestige and just the
Hmm.
what that name means, especially in the college realm. But nowadays when you can go anywhere, and I mean, um, USF's coach just took the Providence job over Syracuse's. And like back in the day,
I
that would
mean,
have been
Syracuse was always going GMAC, but yeah.
yeah. I mean, they always were, but this was even before GMAC. Well, I guess it wasn't before because USF played after them, but he turned them down technically. I guess that's what they put. But like, if you just look at that and you're just like turning down Syracuse to go to Providence, it's like
Mm.
that's just the landscape we're in. Providence is big school with money, donors. Like you can build a team anywhere at this point. So it all just depends on really where you want to go. You don't have to go to those blue blood programs to have a good team. Kind of keeping it in the realm of coaches and kind of I guess not stepping down. I guess he is stepping down, but McDermott from Creighton is retiring. He will be succeeded by his. I think he mentioned this like a couple years ago who he wanted to succeed him, and it kind of like got the ball rolling on everybody. Like, oh, how long is he going to coach? And
Hmm.
obviously he's calling it quits after this season, and will be succeeded by one of his assistant coaches. Obviously had a good run, never really could make it super far. I'm not sure. Did he make a Final Four? I'd have to look that up.
I don't think he quite made it to a Final Four, but he was always like in the Sweet 16, flirted with some
Yeah.
Elite Eights in there for sure. So he definitely overperformed with the school that he was at for sure. So um yeah, I really like him. I remember when his son Doug McDermott was there and he was lighting up March Madness several years ago. This is probably like early 2010s, I want to say. But yeah, he's definitely responsible for a good amount of the impressive seasons that the Creighton have had.
Mm-hmm.
So several tournament appearances, obviously going far in a few of those. But yeah, I think he's got I want to say at least 3 Sweet 16s or something like that. I
Mm-hmm.
remember just a couple years ago when they had Kalkbrenner and Shireman and a couple of those guys. That was
Yeah.
they're one of their last runs. I had them going pretty far in the tournament, but
Yeah.
yeah,
2023.
fun team either way.
Yeah. 2023 lost to San Diego State in the Elite Eight by one possession. So that would have been his first Final Four with Creighton, but
Hmm.
obviously not to be. Decided to call it quits. He's one of those coaches that doesn't look super old, but he's been around for a long, long time. So
Yeah.
good for him. Hopefully retirement's good. And finally, last but not least, Syracuse hiring Jerry McNamara from Sienna after obviously that great showing against Duke. Doing a lot with a little, which is kind of what you're looking for. but also being promised a hefty NIL kind of boost to go out and get players.
Yeah, what's y'all's NIL situation like up there? Obviously, basketball is your main, your main sport. So what's NIL looking like? I've heard in recent years that it could be better than it is currently.
Yeah, it could. I think we're one of those schools that has been trying to like live off of our prestige and it just
Yeah.
hasn't worked. Obviously we have talent. Like Autry was actually a decent recruiter. We have a couple 5 stars, 4 stars, some really, really good players. Punched above our weight a couple times this year. Like we almost beat Houston early on in the season. Obviously it's early, so it's not what teams are going to be at full strength, but like still impressive taking Houston to overtime and losing them to overtime. Like again, we have players. We got Melo's boy there. So I think
He
McDermott
can
will
barely
come.
sniff any playing time.
Facts. I just said McDermott. McNamara will come in and be able to keep a lot of the players that we had last year. Obviously, we got players graduating. I think his name will garner a little bit more respect than Autry. Like I had no idea who Autry was coming in. I always thought it was going to be McNamara the whole
Yeah,
time because he
exactly.
played there. Won a national championship with Melo. Kind of has that prestige as a player. Also was there forever as an assistant coach. 2 years at Sienna, took Sienna to the tournament for the first time since 2010. Almost beat Duke, which would have been absolutely crazy. Like if he beat Duke, everybody would have wanted him. I feel like maybe he
But
could even had the UNC
he was
job.
never going anywhere else except Cuse.
No, he's a Syracuse home.
Yeah.
Like that's Homer. Like he was definitely going to go there. That's the only job that he ever wanted. Even when Sienna made the tournament and everyone was asking him about the Syracuse job. You knew he was talking through his teeth when he was like, "Nah, Sienna's where I want to be." Like he said everything he needed to say going into a tournament game with Sienna. But we all knew if it came up, he was taking the Syracuse job. So I'm pretty hopeful. I'm hoping that it'll take time. Like I'm not thinking he's going to be Boeheim, and I don't even think he's going to be like John Shire taking over from Coach K. But like just to get
Shire's
us
had
back,
immediate success, and
yeah.
so
But I mean that's Duke and Syracuse. This is a little different. Like we've had
yeah,
success, but if he can just get us back to like always being in the tournament, that'll be a good start. And then obviously from there, that's not what we have to be all right with because it's Syracuse. We're looking at Elite Eights, Final Fours, um, even national championships. But pretty exciting to have somebody that seems to, in my opinion, be a better coach than Autry was. He was just not getting a whole lot out of the players that we had. So
yeah,
looks like
yeah.
things are looking up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. It was always super weird that they decided to go with Autry over McNamara. You'd think that you'd
Yeah.
go with the younger guy. Obviously, he's been an assistant there just as long as Autry had. So that was always a super weird move. And I don't know, like again, I didn't get that move from the beginning from Syracuse, but obviously maybe that's the guy that Jim wanted. Kind of estranged him a little bit. Obviously made GMAC go to Sienna for a couple years, but
Mm-hmm.
like you said, he was always coming back home. It just took you guys a couple bad years with Autry to to realize you needed him back. But yeah, I think he can only take them up from here. Obviously, he's proven that he's a good coach, taking freaking Sienna to the tournament. So remains to be seen if he obviously has shown that he can do a lot with a little. So we'll see if he's able to do a lot with more now. So, but I think with the recruits that you already have on your roster, I don't think you can do much worse than Autry did last year. So,
Right.
it can only be up from here. It's going to take a lot to screw that up. So I think he's a good coach, and I think he'll be around for a long time at Syracuse if I had to bet. So.
Yeah. Initial expectations. We gotta be top three in the ACC and making the tournament next season. I think that'd be a good
Top three? You want him first year after
yeah,
this dumpster fire?
I mean in the landscape
Wow.
of the ACC, like obviously we have to see what goes on with UNC. I know Miami's on the come up. Duke's always going to be good. Clemson's always frisky.
That's what
Louisville.
I'm saying. There's some teams in the ACC. I would give you top five if they
I'm
would be
saying with the
good.
roster that we have, like aiming for top
Yeah,
three. I'll expand it to like top five, like
yeah,
being
top
in the
five would
top
probably be more
five.
realistic.
But I
I'm just
think with
saying,
the
give him a little leeway. Like he's
yeah,
not like Dean
but
Smith out here coming in.
first
But
and foremost, well, the reason I said top 3 is because I think, like, barring winning, a regular season ACC championship or the tournament, like, we kind of have to be right around top 3, maybe top 5 to even, like, think about getting in the tournament. Out of the top
Yeah,
5 in the
maybe.
ACC, so that is kind of going hand in hand. So I feel like top 4 or 5 in the
Yeah.
ACC and then making the tournament is definitely comfortably making the tournament. Like, first 4 in, still a little sketchy for me, but making it anyway would be nice. Being able to see Syracuse in the tournament again since 2021 would definitely be nice. But
Yeah.
with that being said, that's kind of the rundown on the first and second round of the tournament. Looking forward to the Sweet 16 starting starting tomorrow. I almost said next week. Starting tomorrow, definitely looking forward to all the great games that we have on the docket coming up. We're gonna hop over the pond here in just a moment.
Hopping over the pond as we usually do, starting off in England for a little Prem talk. Kind of been away from the league aspect of the soccer world. Just kind of been talking champs the last several weeks. Just we've had so much other stuff to kind of cover, but getting back into it with a little Prem. Obviously a pretty good little weekend we had here. Several upsets, several good games going on. First one we'll start out with is Brighton getting the best of Liverpool here. Champions League spots looking farther and farther away for Liverpool, unfortunately, who were really dominated on the day from several different aspects. Never really able to get into gear for Liverpool. Going down early to a Danny Welbeck goal, and actually 2 Danny Welbeck goals on the day here, but not really able to, like I said, kick it into gear here for Liverpool, and unfortunately faltering once again. I guess a team that we always say is really tough to beat, but never really seem to be at the top of the table.
Yeah. Brighton's always that frisky team that you never want to play, especially when you need a game. Like, that's the worst time to
And
play
they're
Brighton.
always in 10th place, like every
Always
single time.
mid-table without fail. Like,
Yeah.
the epitome of a mid-table team. It's absolutely wild.
It's
But
always
yeah,
them and Fulham right in the middle.
Yeah,
Just
facts. Right there. 9 and 10. Sunderland's at 11. That's kind of wild. They were having a great season for a while. Staying up though, that's huge when you're first
Yep.
time when you're promoted for the first time. Obviously been in the Premier League before, but good for Sunderland. But yeah, Brighton, not a team you want to play, especially when you're fighting for any sort of, whether you're in a relegation battle or, fighting for the top of the table or Champions League spots like Liverpool is. Not a good game to drop if you're Liverpool. Liverpool just hasn't had it this year. Like, after winning the league last year under Slot for the first time, really thought this year was going to be better, just being able to have an entire transfer cycle, I should say. Be able to bring in players that you want, kind of get the board on your side and get the signings that you're looking for. Really thought that it was going to work out way better this season. Just hasn't. Obviously, some players just getting older. Continuity is a thing, definitely, when you're letting go of players, bringing new players in, but did not see it going this way. I thought they were going to be at the top of the table here at the end, fighting with Arsenal and Manchester City like they usually are, but just not to be, I guess. Just an interesting season for them, one that they probably hope to flush, restart, and kind of go at it again next season. If they can get that last Champions League spot too, that's kind of crucial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kind of second basically everything you were saying there. I think Slot, after his first year and winning the title and everything, I think he may have thought he was a little bit too big for his skis. Something I've said on the podcast before. But when you have that much turnover in your starting 11, I mean, it's bound to come with some growing pains for sure. And they started off really, really slow. I think they had a period where they went like 5 or 6 games without a victory in all competitions. So that's not something you're used to seeing from them. And then some, not just players departing, but also some key players like Trent Alexander-Arnold going to Real Madrid. Mo Salah announced today actually he's not going to be coming back for next year, so he's
Saw that.
quite a bit older, still commanding a starting spot, even though Slot doesn't want to give it to him. So just a lot of maybe not necessarily infighting, but just a lot of tension there, just trying to figure out the best way to play. Obviously, we've got two strikers up there that play the exact same position, both coming in at 100 mil. Like, which one are you going to play? How are you going to play them together? Yada yada. So, yeah, just a tough season for Liverpool overall. Obviously, it'd be a great way to finish the season if they were able to backdoor their way into a Champions League spot. But like I said, that is looking farther and farther away as they're now sitting still somehow in fifth place. I feel like they keep dropping points and still kind of just chilling there. But that's because the teams under them doing them favors like Chelsea are, losing 3-0 to an Everton side who haven't really been threatened by relegation this year as they have in years past. Nice little mid-table / challenging for Europe this season. But what do you got to say about Chelsea? Little 3-0 spanking here.
Yeah, I feel like after we crash out of contention of everything, again, this goes back to our immaturity. We just become disinterested.
Yeah.
It kind of just feels that way. Like, oh shoot, we're not gonna win the Premier League. Who cares? We crash out of the Champions League. All right, who cares? We're out of all the cups. Who cares?
Crash
Like,
out after crash out.
it's just like okay, we have nothing left to fight for, and like it's
Hey, you're
almost like
still in the FA Cup, so there's hope.
well, good
Beat
for
Wrexham.
us. Yeah, yeah, beat Wrexham. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we get very disinterested, especially in the league for some reason, very quickly. And we just, but again, like even early in the season, we drop games that we shouldn't to teams that we probably shouldn't, even though, in the table, Everton's only 2 spots below us. But
They're
it's
making a
just,
push within 2 points of y'all.
they really are. And it's not saying Everton's bad, like, especially like in years past where Everton's just been fighting relegation. Like, Everton's been a decent squad this year, but
Yeah.
yeah, just seems like we get super disinterested, don't really care, don't play the football that we know we can. Obviously, we have a new coach who's trying to figure some things out. But we on paper, we just have the team that shouldn't be struggling as much as we are. But yet, here we are, same old Chelsea
Well, I feel
every
like that's one of your
every
main
week.
problems is that I feel like every time I blink, y'all have a new coach on the sidelines. So there's obviously no
Tell me
continuity
about
as
it.
far as ideas, tactical play style, never able to kind of fully commit to a coach to be able to bring in his own players and his own ideas to where,
Yeah,
you're always in a constant state of flux,
no flow,
transition,
no
no
flow.
flow. There's no veterans there anymore. Old Thiago Silva actually decided to come back to Europe, but it wasn't to Chelsea, so definitely missing a guy like him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's gonna get much better until you decide to kind of go all in on a coach and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
stick with him through the suck for a couple years instead of just firing him whenever you don't win a couple games in a row. But one of the things that I can't wrap my head around, maybe it's just I'm a casual, obviously Chelsea observer, but I don't understand how Esteval isn't starting for you boys week in, week out. I feel like every time I see
Right.
him on the field, he's doing something good, whether it be creating, scoring himself. Dude's 18 years old. Feel like he's the best player y'all got, but he can't even sniff a starting spot. He barely even gets anything off the bench. So obviously you've got some wingers like Cole Palmer, who's obviously going to be commanding a starting spot, but I feel like Neto could take a seat. I feel like João Pedro, obviously up top, you'll have to do some gymnastics with that. But I feel like Esteval is a guy that not only I feel like is he one of your best players, but he's obviously one of your youngest players too. Just give him game time. He might develop into something really, really special. So definitely not something I understand completely as far as team selection goes. But what do I know? Maybe there's other things that are would come about if I watch Chelsea game in, game out. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's prob those type of players are the ones that suffer the most when you don't have continuity in coaching, because when a coach comes in, it's results, results, results. So you're gonna play like with Esteval, like yeah, the talent's there. He looks really good when he does play, but maybe there's something tactically or something here and there that like isn't quite all there yet. And yeah, game time would help him get there, but like when you have a new coach, he's gonna play the more experienced the older players that he can trust more than maybe a younger player that might need a little bit more shaping, but he doesn't have time for that. He's coming in and he's like, I got to get wins because we just fired this other coach that was doing relatively well, but he wasn't getting wins, fell off. And so those are the type of players that get hurt the most when there's lack of continuity. The players that have the talent but maybe need a little bit more actual coaching and development but don't get it because wins come first, which, you know, that's the name of the game. But like you said, I don't think it's going to change until, you know, again, like you alluded to, until we just land on a coach and say, this is our guy for the next
Yeah.
5 years, even just 5 years, and just
Yeah.
ride it out with him and see
Yeah,
what we got.
I just feel like a guy like Esteval, if he's constantly contributing as far as goals or just making things interesting, like you'd find a way to include him in the team because by
Right.
him playing, obviously you're gonna have results. But yeah, we'll see if Chelsea kind of decide to go in that direction or if they go, continue to go down the path that they have. Obviously, Garnacho is there; he's not really doing much. He's had a crazy fall off. Like when he was
Yeah.
at Man U, like everybody was hyping him, next thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Then it kind of went downhill at United, gets sold. And then now he's just kind of, Timo Wernered
Just there.
himself into being the next Chelsea guy to get sold to wherever. So,
Yep. Yep.
but moving on to another Big Six club, Manchester United, now pretty comfortably in third place there. They did tie with Bournemouth over the weekend. Harry Maguire getting himself sent off in the second half made things interesting, which you always love to see. But
Yeah.
with their tie, they went 4 points clear of Aston Villa in fourth place, and then also a further 6 points clear of Liverpool in fifth place. So pretty comfortably in those Champions League spots now for a Man United team who's really, really struggled over the last several years. Obviously, that spell with Ruben Amorim didn't go as planned, but Michael Carrick able to step in and really, really right the ship. They're playing some of the best football in England right now. Obviously the most attractive football too. And it's garnering results. So it's actually fun to watch this Man United team kick the ball around now. So they've gotten some huge results against some big teams too. Obviously beating my Arsenal squad several weeks ago, beating Aston Villa 3-1. That was huge for the Champions League races. So they got you boys coming up, not this week, but next. But we'll see how that one goes. But what do you got to say about a Man United team that's really struggled as of the last several years to even sniff Europe, but now sitting pretty comfortably in a Champions League spot?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said it when Carrick took the helm. I don't know, someone came up with it, and I don't know the validity to this post that I saw, but someone said since Carrick took over, like if you just took that part of the league from then to now, Manchester United would actually
Yes,
be first if you just
I
took
saw that.
those. You saw
Yeah.
that as well, yeah.
Mhm.
Just shows how well they're playing.
Yeah.
And like you said, like an attractive brand of football that actually, isn't just them running around the field with no actual tactical awareness of what they're doing. But it's good to see. Again, like we talk about this in all sports, baseball, college football, college basketball, whatever. There's like certain teams that, like, sure, you're not a fan of them, but when they're good, it's like it's good for the sport as a
Yeah.
whole. Manchester United is one of them, and it's kind of it's nice to see them doing well again, and with a club legend at the helm too, which actually adds to it and adds to the optics of that. So good for them, and like you said, comfortably in a Champions League spot ahead of Aston Villa, which is, it just goes to show you, getting the right coach in any sport really, really, like, it goes a long way. Like Aston Villa with Unai Emery, dude, like Champions
Right.
League the past 2-3 years or something like that. Like,
Mhm.
and for the longest time wasn't even sniffing Europe.
Yeah. They're
So
one of
good
those
for Manchester
mid-table
United.
sides.
Did did they make Carrick permanent, or has that not come down yet?
I don't think that's actually official yet. I think he's still technically an interim, but
It's gotta
I
be
mean,
him though, right?
gotta be him, dude. Like, I mean, this is his third time he's been an interim, and if you look at his record, even the other two times, I mean, he's pulling some good dubs from somewhere. I mean, he was even playing Champions League as an interim. I think when Ronaldo was there too, and still getting dubs. So, his record is, I mean, it couldn't be better. I mean, it's always dangerous with those interim guys because you don't want to fall in love with them too much. Feels like almost without fail, you sign one of those interim guys and he immediately starts, it's the implosion begins. So, but this one definitely feels different with how they're playing, and obviously it's not just a new manager bump anymore. It's extended into several weeks, and he's obviously, like we've been saying, has them in a really good spot in the top four. So we'll see if that's able to if they're able to finish strong and finish in a position where I think it's also a little bit beneficial that they were out of like every competition early. Obviously, no Europe this year. first round of the FA Cup. I think they were out against like Brighton. They obviously had the Grimsby disaster that almost got Ruben Amorim fired. So they've literally played like the least amount of games they probably have in like years and years, just being able to focus in the league basically since, December, January, something like that. I'm sure is a blessing in disguise as well for an interim manager. But yeah, we'll see if they're able to finish strong. A team that is not finishing strong or starting strong, Tottenham Hotspur, sitting all the way down, 1 point clear of the relegation zone, in 17th place. Tottenham Hotspur, they want themselves to be considered as a top or a Big Six club, but definitely have not been playing that way. Obviously, I've said several times in the podcast, as much flack as United have gotten the last several years for being mid-table to, flirting with relegation in those teen spots. Tottenham have been there this is basically their third year running where they're in the bottom half of the table, not doing anything. Obviously, they got lucky and won the Europa League last year, which is why they're in the Champions League. But here they do sit 1 point clear of relegation after a 3-0 loss to Nottingham Forest, who was technically below them at the beginning of the game, and now they're under Nottingham Forest. So do you think that Spurs actually have a chance to go down here? And dude, the scenes if Spurs go down, not just
Yeah.
obviously for the league up here, but can you imagine them in that new stadium in the championship next season?
That's so funny.
Insane.
Yeah, that would be so funny. Like obviously putting in the new stadium and them getting relegated would be an absolute like that'd be like one of the biggest stories. I feel like a lot of people like one of the reasons it's a big story as well is because everyone's just kind of like Arsenal winning the league. I don't know. I don't know. People just aren't as excited about that just with how they've been winning. But
Yeah.
dude, Tottenham going down would absolutely the scenes after that game, like imagine it's down to the last game of the season and they have to win and they somehow don't pull it out. Who's their manager right now? I know it's an interim, right?
Yeah, his name is Igor Tudor. Igor
Okay,
Tudor. He's a
gotcha.
Croatian dude. I think he's an
I
interim
mean,
as well.
a team's down bad when they start like the names surrounding their coach, like their coach search is like old names. Like Pochettino's been floated out there to come back, and I'm just like, like we're there. That's where we are with Tottenham. But absolutely wild. Like the wildest thing and what makes this sport so fascinating is like they were literally just in the Champions League. I obviously crashed out against Atletico, but playing for Champions League in the round of 16 and also fighting for their lives in the Prem as well. It's just a weird dynamic to see both sides of what a club's going through.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because as much as I would love to see and just laugh at Tottenham, there's like a little part of me that hopes that they don't go down just because for the rivalry's sake. But then I think about the whole picture. I'm like, the embarrassment they would feel going down when they've, like I said, the last 10, 15 years, they've wanted to see themselves as a Big Six club.
Mm-hmm.
Massive new stadium, obviously investors out the wazoo. For them to not just not be in contention for any kind of European spots, but to get relegated would be next tier embarrassment. And I'm still a little bit confused as to how they're in this position, just with the players that they have on their roster. So it's not obviously they lost Son, so that was kind of the bigger loss. But they still have like good players. I mean, Richarlison, he's kind of a meme, but he's still average to above average striker in the EPL. I mean, they still have Christian Romero and Mickey Van de Ven, and several other guys like Xavi Simons is still there. So just guys like that you expect. Conor Gallagher coming off the bench. So just several guys like that you'd expect that they wouldn't necessarily be fighting relegation. And there's just so many games where you're like, all right, Tottenham's gonna win this game. Like there's no way they bottle it against this team and they'll fight their way back up the table. And then lo and behold, they just lose or tie or just just kind of don't put in the performances that you'd expect from them. So definitely going to be a crazy last 7 games, it looks like, here for them against some teams that are going to be having something to fight for. I mean, there's Everton in there, there's you guys and Chelsea. That'll probably be a dub for Tottenham. Aston Villa Champions
Maybe.
League. I mean, Brighton and Sunderland kind of in mid-table, but Wolves, they're kind of been playing for pride, but they're no slouch either. They're gonna be doing everything that they can to stay up, but I don't think that's gonna be a thing at this point. But yeah, so it'd be wild if they went down, but we shall
Mm-hmm.
see, I guess.
Yeah.
Last thing we'll touch on here is the Carabao Cup final. Usually we don't really care about the Carabao Cup. This is the League Cup, basically the second domestic cup competition in England. Usually it's all the big teams playing their second teams and maybe some of the lesser squads getting pretty far. But this year we had Arsenal and Man City in the final, which obviously they've kind of been fighting for the Prem the last several years. And this one, I feel like it kind of was made up to be a pretty big deal, at least as far as Arsenal fans go too, because I mean this was going to be a massive mental advantage for one of these two teams. Obviously, Man City sitting 9 points behind us with. Granted, a game in hand, but also Arsenal just not really being able to get the best of City over these last several years in the Prem or elsewhere, really, with our trophy drought extending back to 2020. But again, just not being able to slay the beast that is Man City. Man City coming out with honestly a genius press, putting four men right up against our back line. We started Kepa at our goalie position, who that ended up being a mistake because he was not able to play out of the back at all. So just eventually we succumbed to the pressure. We literally weren't able to keep the ball for more than 15, 20 seconds at a time. Really the whole game ended up hurting us. Nico O'Reilly, Man City Academy graduate with a double. Two goals that were really kind of pretty similar in nature. So yeah, they kind of cruised to a relatively comfortable 2-0 victory. And another Arsenal team that kind of just seems without ideas against a Man City team.
Yeah, I mean, Man City hasn't made that push in the league to like really catch you guys like we thought they would, but definitely had your number in this game as well. Playing Kepa in this game was definitely not it. It's so weird to see like just the players that fall from grace. Like obviously he didn't do super well at Chelsea anyways. He was replaced pretty quickly. But like at one point was the highest paid goalkeeper in the world.
Yeah, most
Defined was
expensive too. Paid a bunch of money for him.
yeah, for real. And you know, went from Chelsea, found his way to Bournemouth back, and then like backing up Raya at Arsenal, and obviously having this blunder of a game against Man City. Yeah, I mean,
Arteta
again,
said he doubled down with that decision if he were given it again.
really,
He did.
really. Ah,
Yeah.
man, I get taking one for your team, but man, like just don't have to say things like that. But yeah, kind of just everything yeah you said, like just not able to slay the beast, which is Manchester City not being able to get past them in games that matter. It looks like you guys will get past them in the league, but obviously they still had your number here.
Well, that was going to be my next thing is like obviously we're 9 points clear right now, but they do have a game in hand. Let's assume that they win that game in hand to make it 6. We still play them. So, like, how much of a mental thing do you think this is going to be? Not just for the league against Man City, which,
Hmm.
like, let's say it's a 6 point gap and they still play each other, how spicy things get after that. But also, like, maybe for the Champions League as well. Like, not a super convincing tie against Bayer Leverkusen. As kind of an outsider Chelsea fan, how much do you think this messes with the psyche of not just the Arsenal players, but maybe also Man City, who they can just focus on the league now, and not have to compete on multiple fronts.
Yeah, it definitely messes with you mentally for sure. There's no way that it doesn't. And I mean, if the league comes down to that last head to head that you guys have, like that's definitely going to be in the back of your minds, knowing like they just beat us, they're capable of doing that. So, as long as you guys keep taking care of business, I don't think it will seep in as much. But like, if you guys start dropping points, dropping games, it's really gonna slip back in where it's like this isn't over yet, guys. Like we gotta finish business. We gotta take care of it before it's too late. And
Yeah.
hopefully you don't leave it to kind of like um that last that last matchup against you guys. Obviously, that's not your last game, is it?
No.
Uh,
So there's like 5 more weeks after that after we play City.
yeah.
But my concern is just like we're still in the FA Cup. We still have Sporting home and away. Even if we win that just means more games. So and our remaining schedule is not necessarily the easiest in the Prem either. They're all against teams that could make things interesting for sure. Not even mentioning the Man City game. So as an Arsenal fan who just knows, how my team usually reacts after big games like this where things don't necessarily go our way, and just with 5 years of losing to City, literally not being able to win one trophy in that time, and Man City with all their success, I just wonder how much it's going to mess with some of those guys' mentality going forward. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we at least hold on to the league. Like at this point, you can kind of do without Champions League and FA Cup. As much as I'd like to win both of those, maybe even settle for a Prem and FA Cup double, but at the very least, we should be holding on to the league from this point. But even in recent games, I mean, there's been plenty of like we get deep into the second half and we need a goal super late on, so we're definitely not cruising to this title like you'd maybe see a Man City as of the last several years, where they just kind of kick it into cruise control, and it's kind of wraps, and you kind of know that they're gonna win. So we shall see. We shall see. Lots of good games coming up though in the Prem for sure. Next, we'll just wrap up from the Champions League last week. Obviously, last week our episode came right in the middle of a pretty nice Champions League double header, where I guess 2 days in a row where we had games. We did kind of mention several of the games already that were pretty comfortably decided. Obviously, Arsenal Bayer cruising to a nice 2-0 victory, 3-1 on Ag. Chelsea PSG ended up not being close at all, 8-2. Nice little nice
Thrash.
little wreckage
Absolutely
there.
thrash.
Bodo Glimt and Sporting coming from behind, 5-0 victory, and very unfortunate for our brothers over in Norway. And then Madrid and Man City. Madrid taking care of business against Man City as well to kind of put a pretty nice little comfortable aggregate score together there. But we'll talk a little bit about the other games that went on. There are a couple routes in here as well. Bayern Atalanta, Bayern in the second leg, 4-1, 10-2 on aggregate, absolutely imposing their will there. Liverpool coming into the second leg, a little nervy, down 1-0 on aggregate, but imposing their will as well, 4-0. Very, very impressive showing from them. That was right before they faltered in the league to Brighton, so makes sense of that what you will. Newcastle, Barcelona. This one was a really good game up until the second half, and Barcelona just decided to score 7 goals. So I'm not really sure where that came from. I was really interested in that game until they started scoring at will. But that one was a pretty good game. And then lastly here we have Atletico and Tottenham. Tottenham actually getting a dub on the day, but ultimately faltering 7-5 on aggregate. So what do you make about these scores here? Pretty convincing victories for the most part here. And what was did you watch any of these games? I know you're pretty busy at work, don't really watch the champs much, but I was pretty tuned into several of these until obviously they got ugly.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch any of them. I saw the scores, saw some highlights. Just tried to make sense of some of the score lines. Like, yeah, again, kind of similar with you, Newcastle, Barcelona. Barcelona just decided that, like, hey, we're gonna stop messing around with Newcastle, and decided to drop 7 goals on them, like out of nowhere. Was this at the
It's like
Camp
they finally
Nou?
figured out they're just a mid-table Prem team. They're like, all right,
Yeah,
step
exactly.
aside.
Yeah, like, because we were both kind of like what you said, like, all right, Newcastle's gonna make this a tie, and just like it was 1-1 after the first leg, and then
Yeah.
Barca comes in. Was this Barca home? Was
It
this
was,
Camp
it was
Nou?
at Barca.
Gotchas. So that definitely plays a part in it, but yeah, super. I thought this was going to be more of a competition between Newcastle and Barcelona after that first leg, but didn't seem to be. Wild to me. Like, just in a world where Tottenham's goalkeeper doesn't give up 3 crazy goals, like Tottenham might be moving on, man. Fighting for relegation and moving on to the Champions League, like
Yeah,
weird, absolutely weird.
that would have been wild if
That
they
would have
got
been
past Atleti.
this is a little reminiscent of when they made the final though. Obviously they weren't doing this bad, like fighting relegation, but
Yeah.
definitely weren't where they wanted to be in the league. Actually ended up letting go of Pochettino right after the
Yeah,
final.
isn't that insane?
Going to the Champions League. Like they obviously lost it, but like taking Tottenham all the way to the freaking Champions League final and still getting sacked is wild. But
Yeah.
Tottenham's good at Tottenham. So and then again Bayern and
I
Liverpool
never
is kind
understand.
of
Like, you take them to the best performance they've had in like
yeah.
20 years, or
And
maybe
still
even
sack
ever,
'em.
obviously on a European scale, and you
Yeah.
fire the guy?
Yeah.
The frick?
No. I always thought Pochettino, like Tottenham was like the job that everybody started thinking that Pochettino was some great winner coach, this,
Yeah.
that. And it was like,
Even though he didn't win any
he got
trophies.
sacked, guys, after taking to the Champions League. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they just felt like they needed change, but whatever. Obviously, Bayern Atlanta done dusted. Liverpool turning it on against Galatasaray. So, yeah, I didn't get to watch these games, but definitely the second legs didn't turn out to be as close as we thought they would in some of these games.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we definitely need to lock in Fezzy boy, because we got Madrid, Bayern, Sporting, Arsenal, PSG, Liverpool, and then a nice little Spanish classic, Barcelona,
Yes,
Atletico
sir.
Madrid. So,
Yes, sir.
spicy ties, all of those, except for Arsenal, really. Obviously, Arsenal are pretty big favorites to go through on Sporting, but Sporting 5-0 in second leg, always.
I was so upset
always
about that.
dangerous. I know.
I wanted to see Bodo Glimt move on, and they took it to freaking Sporting, and then
They
Sporting
did.
drops 5 goals on them. I was
Crazy.
like, no.
I'm curious, like, if Sporting did that to Bodo, like, how much of like Fugays that would have been against Arsenal. Like, we would have just rolled all over them. So it will be a little bit better for viewing pleasure, I think, that we play Sporting. So
yeah, definitely. Good matchup for you guys moving on here. So looking
Yeah.
good for you guys in the league and the Champions League.
yeah, for sure. We'll see if we're able to put the finishing touches on a couple of these. One game we'll mention before, just mentioning a couple World Cup qualifying games. Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid played each other in La Liga this last weekend. Absolute cinema, as our boy Fezzy Boy likes to say here. 4 absolute screamers. Typical Fede Valverde red card in the second half, which never ceases to amaze. Come from behind, just this game had everything. Obviously, if you have a chance, obviously most of our listeners aren't. If you're still listening to this, you obviously like soccer. But for those of you who don't like soccer, I would advise you to go back and watch the highlights of this game. Incredible goals on both sides. Madrid getting a much needed victory over Atletico, just in the title race. Still 4 points adrift of Barcelona. Again, they still have that head-to-head game to come in the league, but still need Barcelona to drop points in the league for them to catch up. But pretty big hurdle passed for Madrid over Atletico, and Barcelona will actually play Atletico 3 times in the next 4 games, as they have them in the league and then home and away in the Champions League as well. So doesn't get much easier for Barca over the next month or so after this international break.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to watch this game, obviously. I do not doubt. I mean, if you told me Freddie Valverde scored all 4 screamers, I would not. I wouldn't.
Dude, his
I would not
goals
put it past
against
him.
Man City? Oh.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that dude. One big game player, but big goal scorer. Like that's all he scores.
Yeah.
They're not tap ins. They're not like these just basic, like slot into the corner goals. It's like run on, volley, half volley, screamers from 25 yards out.
Marco
Upper
Asensio
deck.
used to do the same thing. He would always, every goal he scored was outside the box.
Yes, absolutely. And like, yeah, it's still like it's a dying breed of, like, we've talked about this before. Like what's his name from Liverpool?
Soboslai.
Yeah, he literally is like the last bit of the generation that we grew up with in this generation of very like tactical, like don't take players on, play within a system, this, that, and the other, end line cross,
Yeah.
like that's all the game is now. But
Trying
then
to
you have
pass it in from 6 yards out.
exactly, but now you have Valverde, like the Freddie Valverdes of the world, and him that still play that attractive style of football, shooting outside the box, which you never see anybody do anymore, unless it's like a center back that's made it a little too high up the field and decides to have a rip.
Yeah.
But
And what's crazy too is like it's so there so often, but no one does it. Like I can't tell you how many times I'm watching Arsenal or another team, and they're like literally at the top of the semicircle, like with acres of space, and they still don't shoot. They're still trying to pass it around, recycle it out. Like I don't even know what they're trying to do. I was like, dude, just rip it. Like you're a freaking professional.
Yeah.
Like you should be able to at least hit goal from there. Like make the goalkeeper work. Like goodness. But yeah, unfortunately,
that's just modern football, man. I feel like analytics and all this is like taken out because like analytics probably looks at that play and goes, well, the percentages of recycling the ball around probably gives you a better percentage of actually scoring a goal than taking a shot from 25 yards out. It's like, no, we don't want that. We want we want soccer to be played the way that it's meant to be played, with like banger after banger after taking people on, even if you lose the ball like 3 times out of 5 times you take someone on, but the 2 times that you take them on, you meg them and get a chance on goal. Like that's what we want to see. But yeah, I feel like the analytics era of this game is definitely just taking over, and it's like can't do that because the analytics say no.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this on the podcast before, but I sometimes get in moods where I'll just watch like extended highlights from um 2007, 8, 9, like even before that, like sometimes 90s, early 2000s. And like I feel like that is the best time to watch because we didn't have all of the diving, all of the super tactics, pushing stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also the most developed period of time where like it's not just like the Pele period where like everybody's
right,
got a second job or whatever. It's not it's still super skilled. So I look back at those games, I'm like, man, this is like so much more attractive football than what we have nowadays. So yeah, it's sad, but it is what it is. So
dude, it just goes to, sorry, very quickly, and this is kind of like a little bit of a tangent, but I just need to say it. Literally, it just goes to show that we literally grew up in the best era ever.
Yeah.
Like, not early enough to where like things were like starting to get started and like the quality was bad, but also like early enough to where we're not in this age of like technology and everything so freaking advanced that's the end all be all. It's like creativity, but also like quality was all like, it was the sweet spot of like movies, music, pop culture, sports. Like it was the best, man. We had it so good, and now this is what we're left with.
Yeah, unfortunately, you taste those good times, and then everything after that is just downhill. But
doesn't work.
Yeah, maybe everyone feels like that though, no matter what era you were born in. So,
True. Parents probably said the same thing about like the 70s. So
Probably.
Who knows?
Last thing we'll touch on is a little World Cup qualifiers. Getting pretty pumped for the World Cup coming up in a couple months. Obviously, us going to the game on Tuesday is going to be pretty hype, getting us prepared for all of the festivities of the World Cup being in the United States. We do have several qualifying games, though, to discuss. I know there's several, but we're just going to talk about the ones happening in Europe because that's really the most relevant teams that still have not qualified yet. So the way that this happens is all of these teams need to win at least 2 games to get into the tournament. It is one and done, so if you lose the first one, you are out. So you do have to win the first and the second to make it into the World Cup. We will start. I guess we'll just get your prediction for each one of these games. I'm assuming that you don't have extended knowledge of most of these rando teams from Eastern and Central Europe. So
correct.
We'll start out with the biggest game of the entire slate here, at least in my opinion: Romania and Turkey. Speaking of the
Ooh.
games that I was obviously watching, I was watching the last time Romania went to the World Cup, 94 in the United States. Yeah, we played the United States, beat them, no big deal, it's fine. Beat
Oh,
Argentina in the round of 16, no big deal. Anyways,
okay.
moving on though, we're trying to get back to our first World Cup since that 94 squad, playing a very good Turkey team though, with obviously Arda Güler on the roster, Kalhanoglu and company, so they definitely got the star power, but Romania, man, never count us out. I think we can make a little bit of noise just like we did in the Euros. Definitely need a lot of bounces to go our way, though, but anything can happen as we've come to see. So, Fezzy boy, who you got in this one?
Do I break your heart, Sammy, and say Turkey? Because Turkey's just that team that's always
Wouldn't be the
good.
first.
Wouldn't be the first time. Nah, I'm actually gonna go Romania though. I think that you guys
Oh
end up getting
my.
it done. You got to win this and then win the next to get in. Correct?
That
Again, I
is
don't.
correct, unfortunately.
Again, USA usually is always like we play in CONCACAF, so we're literally always qualifying. So I don't have
Yeah.
to worry about these these qualifiers.
Except
But
in 2018.
except in 2018 when we couldn't beat
Trinidad.
a freaking Trinidad and Tobago. But anyways, obviously you're tapped in, so I don't know a whole lot about these qualies. But I'm gonna go Romania. I think you guys are riding something special here. Hopefully you guys can get it done.
Dude, I freaking hope, man. I mean, even if we do somehow get past Turkey, we still have to play. I'm blanking right now on the winner, but one of the winners of the other several games that they have listed down there. So we're going to be an underdog in both games, no matter who we play. But listen, if North Macedonia could get to the point where they're knocking out Italy, I think anything can happen. So I'm putting my full support, obviously, behind Romania. I'm hoping that we can pull something out of the bag and hopefully get us to our first World Cup since '94.
Huge.
So I'll pick Romania too. What the heck?
You better.
Speaking of Italy, coming off the backs of two straight World Cups that they were not in. Obviously, we've kind of seen the effects of that, not only on the league, but also on the national team, not really being that elite team that you see. Even though on the Euros, they're right there at the end. I mean, they miss World Cup, win Euros, miss World Cup, do strong again in the Euros. So I don't really know what's going on over in Italy. Obviously, the ghosts of North Macedonia knocking them out of the last one, they're still going to be around, but they face a very excessive, very winnable game in Northern Ireland. So who you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to take Italy, just a team that probably shouldn't be here, but finds themselves here quite often. Have a good squad, have a good manager. Italy should be able to get it done and really push to make that World Cup, even though they should not be here. It's just absolutely wild seeing Italy always in the playoff, Italy also missing the World Cup in the past couple years. Like, dude, not a couple years, but the past couple tournaments. Absolutely wild. Got to figure something out, but I think they get it done against
Yeah,
Northern
yeah.
Ireland.
Italy coming from a group with Norway, Israel, Estonia, and Moldova. You'd think that they'd pretty easily top that group, but Norway
Right.
just decided to go nuts and win all 8 of their games. So
All their players are from Bodo Glimp except for like 2. So
Erling
just
Haaland and
goes to
Martin
show you.
Odegaard, everybody else Bodo.
Yep.
But
Oh,
yeah,
wild.
no, Italy stuck in the playoff once again. I'm sure that Italians would love just one time for their team to just automatically get in. So
I know. Not
but yeah,
stress it.
pretty favorable draw here. If they get past Northern Ireland, they will play the winner of Wales and Bosnia. So you'd expect them to get through. Also, as a side note, Romania and Turkey, whoever wins that will play the winner of Slovakia and Kosovo. So if we get past Turkey, I would actually give us a pretty good shot against one of those two teams. We'd have
I was gonna
the
say.
hardest test behind us. So
Yeah, I was gonna say the heavy lifting comes first against Turkey. Beat them, and again, don't take the day off, but like
yeah, exactly.
like it's definitely the hardest part's done. Just get it done against Slovakia or what is it?
Kosovo, yep.
Kosovo.
Next one we'll look at
Europe.
Denmark, North Macedonia. Obviously, North Macedonia, not a team that you'd typically be thinking of as a team that's going to be getting into these tournaments. But they do have a couple Euros under their belt now. Denmark, a team that's definitely got a little bit more star power on their roster. Who you got in this one?
I go Denmark. They're a team that typically see in the Euros doing well, also making the World Cup a few times. again, like you said, they just got more star power. Never really hear about players from North Macedonia, so give me Denmark in this one.
Yeah, good stuff. I got Denmark as well. I think North Macedonia aren't lucky enough to have that happen 2 times in a row in a World Cup qualifying tournament. So I got
Probably
them
not.
going out, unfortunately, as well. Next one is the team that will be playing the winner of Denmark and North Macedonia. We got the Czech Republic, or Czechia as they like to be called now, playing the Republic of Ireland. And for those who remember, the Republic of Ireland needed a late winner at home against Hungary to book their spot just in the playoffs and knock Hungary out. Those were absolute insane scenes, which you love to see, but obviously job's not finished. Still got to get past obviously at least the Czech Republic and most likely Denmark. But who you got in this one? Czech Republic got some names over there too.
Yeah, but I think we go Ireland. They're kind of gonna
Love it.
ride the wave of like making it into the playoff, keeping their hopes alive. They got like Billy Gilmore and different players from the Prem like that, right?
Yep. Yeah, they got some talent over there for
They
sure.
got some talent. I'm gonna take Ireland, beat
All right.
Czechs.
All right, I like it.
Yes,
And yeah, I
sir.
think the Czech Republic is, I think maybe a slight step up from Hungary, but not a huge step. So if they're able to pull something like that off against Hungary, I think they'll definitely be in the game against the Czechs, for sure. So I'm hoping it's going to be a really good game overall. Next, we'll go to Slovakia and Kosovo. Like I said, the winner of this game will play the winner of Turkey and Romania. So who you got in this one?
Have zero idea. Have no idea who
Kind of
plays for
figured.
any teams. I'm just gonna go Slovakia because I know that's a country, and I didn't even realize Kosovo was a country. So we're gonna go with that. Slovakia all the way.
Yeah, Kosovo is actually a pretty new international FIFA country. I think they first time they played like as a country for FIFA is like 2014 or 15, so
Okay,
relatively
gotcha.
new country, I guess you could say. But yeah, give me Slovakia as well. Next, we're gonna go Ukraine and Sweden. Two teams that I feel like are pretty evenly matched here. Ukraine still holding on to some older players that are hoping to get themselves to another World Cup. And Sweden, unfortunately, I'm not really familiar with a lot of the players or who they're going to be relying on. I'm sure there's somebody I'm missing in there, but yeah, I think Gyökeres is probably their best player, I would have to say. So hopefully he's able to kind of lift them through. But who do you got in this tie here?
I was getting them mixed up because I thought I was like the old who do you play for? Denmark's goalkeeper I thought was a Swede, but he's not.
Oh,
So
Kasper Schmeichel.
yeah, Kasper
He's
Schmeichel.
Danish.
He is Danish. So I was gonna go off. I was gonna go Swedes off of that, but the fact that I have no idea who plays for the Swedes, give me Ukraine.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, let's take it. Let's go with it
For no real reason,
for
huh?
no apparent reason. This is worse than picking a March Madness bracket. I actually have to know.
Oh
Actually,
my
no, but
goodness.
like I'm going vibes here, straight up vibes. And the first thing that pops in my head that tells me anything about that country.
Well, it sounds like you're just putting all your faith in Zinchenko or whoever
Yep,
is going to
that's
pop up
exactly
for
who I was
them.
thinking
So,
of when I went Ukraine. I was like, boom, Premier League player. Doesn't play a lot anymore, but Premier League player. Here we go.
yeah, for sure. Solid stuff. I'll pick Ukraine as well, just to
Perfect.
it would be cool to see them back in a big tournament again. Poland, Albania is our next one here. The Poles obviously coming in with obviously Lewandowski trying to get to, I think it's going to be his first World Cup if I'm not mistaken. Don't
No
quote me
way.
on that,
That
but
can't
I'm
be.
pretty
That
sure that'll
can't
be
be
his
true.
first World Cup.
Wow.
So obviously they're taking on a pretty scrappy Albanian team here. But who you got going to the next round?
I'm still appalled that that might be Lewandowski's first freaking World Cup. Jeepers. Poland, Albania. Give me Poland. I mean, the fact that they just have Lewandowski, even though he's old,
I
still can
lied.
get
That's
it
not going to
done.
be his first World Cup, but continue.
All right, you did look it up. Probably like his second though, knowing.
It's actually his
I don't know.
third. They made it in 2018 and 2022. So
All right,
um,
forgive me. I don't know
big swing
anything.
and a miss by me. So
That's all right. I'm going to go Poland now even more. Got Lewandowski, and they've been in the World Cup before. Find themselves in the playoff, but I feel like they'll get it done.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, they're going to be playing the victors of Ukraine and Sweden, so pretty good stuff there. Last game that we'll touch on is Wales and Bosnia. Wales obviously don't have the likes of Aaron Ramsey and Gareth Bale to bail them out of certain situations that they get themselves into now. So you think that they got the firepower to eliminate a Bosnian team, or you think that they still have a little bit left in the tank with the band of misfits that they got going on over there?
Death Ray pointed at the world. Who do I want? Give me Bosnia. I have no idea why I'm going Bosnia, but the fact that
they still have Edin Dzeko leading the line for them. So
God bless you. But yeah,
you know Edin Dzeko.
Who's he play for?
Okay, never mind. Continue.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
He's old now, but he used to ball, dude. He used to play for Roma. He used to play for Inter Milan. As recently as like 2023 or 24, I want to say. Played at Man
It's
City.
Been well documented on the podcast when it comes to European football players and their names. I am a puddle of knowledge.
Man City, Roma, Inter Milan. Those are the teams he played for.
Interesting.
Absolute casual.
Right. Bosnia for that reason.
All right, I'm gonna go Wales just because they have too many Prem players in there. I think like they got enough to get over the line. Harry Wilson, Fulham captain, Daniel James, Leeds United winger. I know you have no idea who these players are. Anyways,
the rest of them are in the freaking championship. It's like two Prem boys and a bunch of championship and grassroots players from England.
Yeah, several of them do play in the championship. But that's a little bit of a little prediction, I guess, into the games. Tomorrow at 1 p.m., I will be absolutely locked into Romania versus Turkey.
1 p.m.
I really hope Turkey don't beat us by 3 goals, because then I'll be really depressed for the next 3 days. So I'm hoping we at least make it a game and lose in heartbreaking fashion instead of in a way that makes me depressed. So yeah, that's basically all we got for this here football segment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, locked in 1. Is that ESPN Plus tomorrow?
1 p.m., sir.
Is it ESPN Plus? What's it on?
I'm actually not sure. I gotta figure that out, because I think it's on like Fubo something. So I gotta figure out like who's gonna. It's actually on Fox Sports 2, which is like perfect. I was actually really upset because, it's obviously, this is just me talking because I'm the only one who cares.
There's a podcast,
but all the other games are like all start at the same time. But because this one's a little bit earlier, they were able to actually put it on the channel. Because if this was scooted back, I feel like it definitely would have been on Fubo crap, whatever. And
that
able to watch,
Fubo qualifier weirdness stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That I see every once in a while.
About.
Yeah, super weird. Like Fubo Sports Network, and you have to pay for the games extra. Like I can't even watch them, and I have Fubo. It's like,
are you serious? That's stupid.
Yeah, like. You're making me pay for Romania and Turkey? I don't freaking care unless I'm Sam. Like, I ain't
well, thankfully it's on FS2, so we got that with the old YouTube TV package.
I'll try to lock in with you. Text me tomorrow. We'll lock in together.
Bet.
I need to care about these small European countries that can't even pronounce the names and don't even know who plays for them. But
it's a vibe.
It is a vibe. We love all sports, any sports, and that's why we have this podcast. But speaking of podcasts, I think that's a pod, Sammy.
That is a pod.
We appreciate you guys tuning in. A little bit of a longer one because we had a long segment with both soccer and college basketball. Next week, not sure when we'll get the pod out, because usually when we record, we will be in Atlanta watching USA versus Portugal. Maybe we'll vlog that. We should just vlog that for the 100th episode. Live stream from the stadium, 100th episode. Bada big, bada boom.
That'd be sick.
One of us might streak on the field and get our first guest on the podcast.
Right.
First big time guest. Pulisic, say hi. Dude, imagine. That'd be absolutely wild.
Dude, that's one way to go viral, my guy.
That is one way. Check out the podcast and watch. You know what? Sorry, Taylor. I might be going to prison. Taylor, gonna have to bail me out.
Just get some
Anyways,
bail money. It's all good.
that's right. Just have a little on the side. Just know that there might be an accident at the game. Might fall on the field. Anyways, all jokes aside, maybe. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys for tuning in again. Longer episode, just with so much going on, especially with the tournament going on. Hope everybody tunes into that tomorrow and this whole weekend to watch the great games that we have. If you guys could, please go follow, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast: Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Obviously, hitting our 100th episode next week. Obviously, we're not where we want to be, so if you guys please would just go and subscribe, that would mean the world to us. Probably need to get a giveaway going or something to get some more followers. We'll kind of get that in the works, but we appreciate you guys as always, and until next time, we will see you on the next one. All right, peace.